The Conan the Barbarian series by Robert E. Howard follows the heroic exploits of Conan, a rugged adventurer whose journeys are brimming with classical fantasy elements like princesses and wizards. Set in the mythical Hyborian age, a time following the fall of Atlantis, the story unfolds in a richly crafted world. Conan the Cimmerian, a people descended from the ancient Atlanteans and ancestors of the Gauls, as a direct descendant of Call of Atlantis, another of Howard's iconic adventurers, Conan was born on the battlefield as the son of a blacksmith. Known for his chivalrous nature and the readiness to rescue those in peril, Conan is both honorable and fiercely loyal. Unlike his somber predecessor Krull, Conan often displays a sharp sense of humor. His powerful physique, intelligence, and endurance makes him formidable in battle, while his striking appearance, square, cut, black hair, blue eyes, tan skin, and towering build, defines the atypical barbarian. Robert E. Howard created the character in 1932 for a series of fantasy stories published in Weird Tales magazine. Before his death, Howard had written 21 stories starring the barbarian. Following Howard's death, the copyright of Conan the series passed through several hands. Eventually, L. Sprague de Camp was entrusted with the management of this fictional line and began with 1967's Conan, released by Nanser Books, oversaw a paperback series of collection of all of Howard's stories. Licensed comics published in the 1970s by Marvel Comics drew further popularity to the character, introducing a new iconic image of Conan in his loincloth. The most popular cinematic adaptation is 1982's film Conan the Barbarian, directed by John Milius and starring Arnold Schwarzenegger as Conan, in which the plot revolves around Conan facing the villainous Thulsa-Doom.
Then the rest were on him, in a nightmare rush of blazing eyes and dripping fangs. His fiercely driven sword shore the first asunder. Then the desperate impact of the others bore him down. He crushed a narrow skull with the pommel of his hilt, feeling the bones splinter and blood and brains gush over his hand. Then, dropping the sword, useless at such deadly close quarters, he caught at the throats of the two horrors which were ripping and tearing at him in silent fury. A foul, acrid scent almost stifled him. His own sweat blinded him. Only his mail saved him from being ripped to ribbons in an instant. The next, his naked right hand locked on a hairy throat and tore it open. His left hand, missing the throat of the other beast, caught and broke its foreleg. A short yelp, the only cry in that grim battle, and hideously human-like, burst from the maimed beast. At the sick horror of that cry from a bestial throat, Conan involuntarily relaxed his grip.
Conan the Cimmerian, black-haired, sullen-eyed, sword in hand, a thief, a reaver, a slayer, discovered how it all began. Conan the Barbarian spawned 100 imitators. Find out how all this happened with tales from his early life. From the Tower of the Elephant to Beyond the Black River, follow Robert E. Howard's greatest creation as he cuts a bloody swath through the history of Hyboria. Now let's see what the Deep Dive crew has to say about the original Conan the Barbarian series by Robert E. Howard, and if it will be enough to entice you to read the ultimate classic fantasy series. Buckle up.
All right, so you think you know Conan, huh? Swords, sandals, maybe a little Schwarzenegger thrown in for good measure.
Ha ha, yeah, that seems to be the popular image.
Well, get ready to have those preconceived notions sea-rushed. We're going deep on this one, folks. The original Conan stories by Robert E. Howard. And let me tell you, this ain't your childhood fantasy.
Not unless your childhood involved a healthy dose of primal savagery and cosmic dread.
And to guide us through this Hyborian labyrinth, we've got expert speaker. They've forgotten more about Howard than most people ever know.
It's amazing how much of what people consider Conan is actually, well, post-Howard. The movies, the comics, they all owe a debt to these original stories. The raw, visceral energy, the atmosphere, it's something else.
That's what I love about doing this deep dive. We get to go back to the source, explore the foundations of these genres we love. And with Conan, we're talking pre-Tolkien here. Howard was crafting these gritty adventures in a prehistoric world before high fantasy was even a thing.
Exactly. We're talking about a time when continents were still shifting, empires rose and fell like tides.
Okay, hold on. For those hearing Hyborian Age for the first time, Give us a little context here. What's Howard working with?
Imagine a time before recorded history, right? But instead of just cavemen and dinosaurs, you've got these sprawling civilizations, ancient sorcery, lost cities. It's like he took all the best parts of history, mythology, and pulp adventure, threw them in a blender, and out popped the Hyborian Age.
And striding through this savage landscape is our main man, Conan the Cimmerian.
Right. Born in the frozen north, Conan carves his own path through this world. Thief, warrior, leader, eventual king.
See, that's what always intrigued me. He's not just some static hero, he evolves.
Oh, absolutely. He's driven by this primal urge to live, to experience everything this crazy world has to offer, and he's not afraid to get his hands dirty in the process. He's as comfortable in a palace as he is in a back alley brawl.
So we're talking about a whole world of adventure here. What are some of the key locations that Howard throws at us?
Oh man, where do we even begin? There's Aquilonia, this powerful kingdom with definite Roman Empire vibes.
So we've got some sword and sandal action mixed in with our sorcery.
And then there's Stygia, which is basically Howard's love letter to ancient Egypt, with a healthy dose of the mummy thrown in for good measure. We're talking ancient curses, undead sorcerers, that kind of thing.
Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's like he's drawing on these real-world cultures, these historical echoes, but then twisting them into something new and strange and dangerous.
Exactly. You've got Shem, with shades of Arabia and Mesopotamia, Hyrcania, like something out of Central Asia. He even weaves in these hints of even older civilizations, totally lost to time, just dripping with mystery.
And through it all strides Conan, right? Not exactly your typical knight in shining armor from what I've read.
Not even close. Conan is the embodiment of the Hyborian Age itself. He's rough around the edges, fueled by gut instinct and a will to survive that's almost superhuman.
So it's not all just mindless hacking and slashing, is it? We've got ancient mysteries, cosmic horror. What's the overall vibe?
You hit the nail on the head. What makes Howard so good is that he can throw you into this crazy sword fight, and then bam, you're staring down some ancient entity that defies human comprehension.
It's like he's tapping into something primal, something beyond our understanding.
Exactly. That blend of visceral action, vivid world building, and unsettling cosmic horror that's pure Howard. And it's what makes these stories timeless, in my opinion.
It's like he's practically inventing a genre here, back in the 1930s. Were people ready for this kind of thing?
Honestly, I don't know if they were ready for it, but they sure ate it up. Howard tapped into something primal, something that resonates even now.
So what you're saying is, this isn't just escapism.
This is about confronting the darkness that exists at the edges of civilization, both within ourselves and the world around us. That's some heavy stuff for a guy writing about barbarians and monsters.
Okay, so anyone listening who's itching to dive into this world, where do they even start? There's a whole stack of Conan stories out there.
That's the great thing about it. You can't really go wrong. Pick up any Howard Conan story and boom, Hyborian Age right in your face.
But if you had to pick one to kick things off, a true baptism by fire, what would it be?
Ooh, good question. If you want to be thrown right into the thick of it, you can't go wrong with the Tower of the Elephant.
Oh man, Tower of the Elephant. Now there's a story that sticks with you. That opening scene alone, Conan in the city, the thieves, that whole atmosphere. It's
Classic Howard, action, mystery, even a little bit of cosmic horror sprinkled in there to keep you on your toes.
and that tower itself, just this looming, impossible structure.
Oh yeah, and that giant spider god. Talk about nightmare fuel. Howard knew how to create a sense of wonder and dread.
I love how he just throws you into the action, no messing around.
No exposition dumps for Howard. He trusted his readers to keep up. You're right there with Conan, experiencing everything as he does.
And the imagery, so vivid, so visceral.
That's one of the things I love most about Howard's writing. It's so immediate, so sensory. You can practically smell the spices in the air, feel the grit of the streets beneath your feet.
Yeah, it's like you're transported to another time and place. So we've got Tower of the Elephant as a great jumping in point, but you've clearly spent some serious time with Howard. What are some of your personal favorites? Give us the deep cuts.
If you want to see Conan as a king, The Phoenix on the Sword is a must-read.
Phoenix on the Sword. That's where things get really interesting. He's not just surviving anymore, he's leading.
Exactly. Palace intrigue, assassination attempts, ancient curses. It's got it all, but with Conan as the king.
And let's be real, he's kind of terrible at it at first.
Which is great. Right. He's learning as he goes, and he's definitely not afraid to break a few eggs to make an omelet. But for me, if we're talking peak Howard, Queen of the Black Coast, no question.
Queen of the Black Coast. Oh man, the Lee. That one's got a special place in my heart.
This is pure adventure, high seas, pirates, everything you could want.
Conan and Belate, what a pair. You could argue she's a more interesting character in that one, honestly.
Oh, for sure. But the reason it's a must-read, Howard throws in this incredible sense of atmosphere. That forgotten city they find, the creepy statues, the whole vibe is just...
Yeah, you get this feeling like we should not be here.
Exactly, and the best part is, Howard doesn't over-explain things. He leaves enough to your imagination, which, honestly, is way more effective.
It's that Lovecraftian idea that the true horrors are the ones we can't even comprehend.
Exactly, and that's what makes Howard's Conan so compelling.
We've been hyping up Howard's writing a lot here, but these stories are almost 100 years old. Is the language going to be a barrier for new readers?
Honestly, it's part of the charm. It's like stepping back in time, experiencing a different era of storytelling.
And there are some fantastic editions out there with helpful annotations and introductions to give you some context.
Yeah, don't let a little bit of archaic language scare you off from experiencing these stories.
All right, so we've covered some highlights, but we only just scratched the surface of the Hyborian age. What else can you tell us about this world and its most famous barbarian?
One of the things that I think gets overlooked about Conan is that he's not just a one-dimensional brute.
Oh, so Conan's got a secret soft side, huh?
Well, not exactly soft, but he's definitely more complex than he gets credit for. He's actually incredibly intelligent.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying Conan was secretly a scholar this whole time?
Not a scholar, but he's cunning, resourceful, adaptable. He's a survivor, plain and simple. He does what he has to get by. And yeah, he can be ruthless when he needs to be, brutal even, but there's this code, I guess you'd call it, that he lives by.
Oh yeah, so it's not all just smash first, ask questions later.
Not always, no. He respects strength, courage, loyalty to an extent. There's a certain honor among thieves thing going on.
Okay, so even when he's off being a bit of a jerk, you can still kind of root for him. He's the original anti-hero.
Oh, exactly. And that's the brilliance of Howard's writing. He could have just made Conan this big, dumb, barbarian stereotype. But he's flawed, he's complex, he's human, even when he's doing these larger-than-life things. You don't get that very often in fantasy, even now.
All right, I'm sold. We got this morally ambiguous hero, this world that's as real as anything Tolkien ever dreamed up, and this crazy mix of action, adventure, A&D cosmic horror. What's the secret ingredient? What makes Howard's Conan stand apart after all these years?
For me, it's the atmosphere. You're not just reading about the Hyborian age, you're breathing it. You can practically smell the blood and sweat on the battlefields, taste the spiced wine in the taverns. It's a full-on sensory experience.
You know, it's funny you say that. Reading those stories, I did get this weird feeling, almost like I was, I don't know, peeking behind the curtain of history, like I was witnessing something ancient, powerful.
That's it. It's like Howard tapped into something primal, you know, an echo of a time when the world was wilder, more dangerous, and Conan, he was right at home in all that chaos.
So it's not just escapism, it's, I don't know, almost like he's awakened something in us, that innate human desire for adventure, for the unknown.
Exactly. That's why these stories still resonate. Even today, they tap into that part of us that yearns for something more, a world of wonder and danger and possibility.
For anyone out there feeling stuck, bored, like they're sleepwalking through life, Howard's Conan is a wake-up call.
It's a reminder that we can carve our own paths, that there are still mysteries to be uncovered, battles to be fought, stories to be lived on our own terms. Just, you know, maybe lay off the whole becoming king of a barbarian nation thing.
Haha, fair enough. So for those listening who are ready to heed the call of the Hyborian age, where can they find these legendary Conan stories?
Oh, they're everywhere. Bookstores, libraries, online. Heck, I'm pretty sure I saw a beat-up copy in a gas station the other day.
That sounds about right, actually. All right, so there you have it. If you're craving a taste of the original sword and sorcery, the raw, untamed energy that started it all, pick up a copy of R. E. Howard's Conan. And while you're at it, tell us what you think. What are your favorite Conan stories? What other hidden gems should we unearth on the show? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and as always, keep it deep, divers.